Are you over 70, walking less, feeling heaviness in your legs, maybe even noticing that your balance, endurance, or confidence just isn't what it used to be? You might have been told this is just normal aging, but here's what's really going on inside your body. In many cases, it's not your muscles that are failing first, it's your circulation. Specifically, the tiny blood vessels, the microcirculation that deliver oxygen, nutrients, and metabolic fuel to your leg muscles. And when those vessels don't open properly, your muscles don't get energy. When your muscles don't get energy, you feel weak. When you feel weak, you move less. And when you move less, blood flow gets even worse. That is the downward spiral of aging legs. But here's the empowering part. Your body still has the biological machinery to improve blood flow, even in your 70s, 80s, and beyond. What it often needs is the right signal. Today, we're going to talk about a nutrient, a vitamin, that plays a central role in activating nitric oxide, improving endothelial function, and helping your blood vessels relax and open. Not 10%, not 20%, but dramatically improving how blood moves through your legs. Now, the 1,000,000X idea is obviously a metaphor for how powerful this mechanism can be when you restore it. Because we're not just talking about blood flow, we're talking about oxygen delivery, mitochondrial energy, glucose uptake, inflammation control, muscle preservation. In other words, we're talking about your ability to walk, climb stairs, stand up from a chair, and maintain independence. And here's the deeper root cause most people miss. As we age, insulin resistance, low-grade inflammation, and endothelial dysfunction reduce nitric oxide production. Your blood vessels lose their flexibility. They become stiff, narrow, and less responsive. This is not just a circulation issue, it's a metabolic issue. So today, I'm going to show you what nutrient activates this pathway, why it declines with age, how it connects to insulin, the liver, and muscle metabolism, and the exact daily protocol, including timing, foods, and lifestyle strategies that can help restore blood flow naturally. Because this isn't about taking a pill and hoping for the best. It's about fixing the underlying physiology. If this kind of root cause, science-based approach is helpful for you, consider subscribing. I share daily tools to help you improve energy, metabolism, and longevity naturally. Now let's begin by understanding the first key concept, why blood flow in the legs declines with age, and why most treatments completely miss the real cause. Here's what's really going on inside your body when blood flow to your legs starts to decline after the age of 70. Most people assume it's simply poor circulation as an unavoidable part of aging, but physiologically, the primary issue is a loss of nitric oxide signaling. Nitric oxide is the molecule that tells your arteries to relax, widen, and deliver oxygen-rich blood to your muscles. Without it, vessels become stiff, narrow, and less responsive. Now let me explain this with a simple analogy. Imagine your blood vessels are highways and nitric oxide is the traffic control system. When nitric oxide levels are high, the lanes open, traffic flows smoothly, and nutrients reach their destination. When nitric oxide is low, lanes close, traffic backs up, and your muscles become starved of oxygen and glucose. This is why people over 70 often experience cold feet, leg fatigue when walking, slower healing, reduced balance, and strength. Not because their muscles are old, but because their vascular signaling is impaired. And this is where the Neur1 vitamin comes in, vitamin D. Vitamin D is not just a bone vitamin. It functions more like a hormone that directly affects endothelial cells, the cells that produce nitric oxide. Research shows that adequate vitamin D levels improve endothelial function, reduce arterial stiffness, and enhance nitric oxide bioavailability. Here's the key mechanism. Vitamin D reduces oxidative stress inside blood vessels. Oxidative stress destroys nitric oxide before it can do its job. So when vitamin D levels are low, which is extremely common after age 70, nitric oxide gets neutralized and blood flow drops. This is also why low vitamin D is associated with peripheral artery disease, muscle weakness, increased fall risk, slower walking speed. So the root cause is not just circulation, it's endothelial dysfunction driven by inflammation, insulin resistance, and vitamin D deficiency. Now let's make this practical. Actionable protocol. First, Get your vitamin D levels tested. The optimal range for vascular and metabolic health is generally considered to be around 40-60 nanograms ml, not just the minimum required to prevent deficiency. Second, timing matters. Taking vitamin D with your largest fat-containing meal improves absorption because it is a fat-soluble vitamin. Third, combine vitamin D with magnesium. Magnesium is required to activate vitamin D in the liver and kidneys. Without magnesium, vitamin D remains biologically less active. Fourth, pair this with light post-meal walking. Even 10 minutes of walking after dinner increases nitric oxide production and improves glucose disposal, which further enhances blood flow to the legs. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post content like this every day to help you restore metabolic and vascular health naturally. In the next section, we're going to connect vitamin D to insulin signaling and explain why high blood sugar silently damages leg circulation, even if you don't have diabetes. Here's what's really going on inside your body when blood sugar stays elevated, even slightly, for years. You don't need to have diabetes to damage the blood vessels in your legs. Chronically elevated insulin and glucose create something called glycation. This is when sugar molecules stick to proteins in your blood vessel walls, making them stiff, inflamed, and less responsive to nitric oxide. Let me explain this with a simple whiteboard image. On one side, you have flexible, elastic arteries that expand and contract with each heartbeat. On the other side, you have glycated arteries, thickened, rigid, and narrow. Blood doesn't flow easily through them, especially to the farthest parts of the body, like your calves and feet. This is why many people over 70 feel leg heaviness after meals. It's not just aging, it's post-meal glucose spikes reducing microvascular circulation. Now here's where vitamin D plays a second critical role. Vitamin D improves insulin sensitivity. When insulin sensitivity improves, glucose is cleared from the bloodstream more efficiently. Less glucose in the blood means less glycation damage to the endothelium. So vitamin D is working on two levels: increasing nitric oxide availability, reducing insulin resistance and vascular inflammation. What the research shows is that individuals with adequate vitamin D levels tend to have better HbA1c, better endothelial function, and improved muscle performance, all of which translate into stronger, warmer, better perfused legs. But we can amplify this effect with one simple behavioral tool: the 10-minute post-meal walk. After you eat, your blood sugar rises. If you sit, glucose stays in the bloodstream longer. But if you walk, your muscles act like sponges, pulling glucose out of the blood without requiring as much insulin. This immediately reduces glycation stress on your blood vessels and improves circulation to your legs. Here's a practical evening protocol for someone over 70. Take vitamin D with dinner, with healthy fats. Walk for 10 minutes at a comfortable pace. Hydrate adequately to support plasma volume. Avoid high-sugar desserts at night. This combination improves overnight vascular repair because growth hormone and melatonin, both released during sleep, support endothelial healing when glucose and insulin are low. Now let's address a common mistake. Many people think they need intense exercise to improve circulation, but high-intensity training late in the evening can elevate cortisol and actually reduce nitric oxide temporarily. For people over 70, consistency beats intensity. Daily walking light resistance training, adequate protein intake. These stimulate capillary growth, a process called angiogenesis, which literally creates new microblood vessels in your muscles. If this is making sense and you want more science-based practical protocols like this, subscribe and join our community focused on healthy aging and metabolic repair. In the next section, we'll go deeper into how inflammation shuts down blood flow in the legs and the specific nutrients that reopen those vascular pathways. Here's what's really going on inside your body when inflammation starts silently sabotaging blood flow to your legs. Chronic low-grade inflammation is extremely common after 70. You might not notice it. No fever, no pain, but your blood vessels are under constant attack. White blood cells release cytokines, which cause endothelial cells to produce less nitric oxide. The result? Narrowed arteries, stiffer vessels, and reduced oxygen delivery to leg muscles. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your arteries as garden hoses. Healthy hoses are flexible, letting water flow easily. Inflammation is like sediment building up inside the hose walls. Even if the water pressure is normal, less water reaches the plants at the end. In your legs, the plants are your muscles, nerves, and connective tissues. When they don't get enough oxygen and nutrients, weakness, fatigue, and slower recovery set in. This is where nutrition and key vitamins play a critical role. Vitamin D, for instance, modulates inflammatory pathways in the vascular system. It reduces cytokine production, calms endothelial stress, and helps restore nitric oxide signaling. But it works best synergistically with other anti-inflammatory nutrients. Omega-3 fatty acids from fish or flaxseed reduce endothelial inflammation. Polyphenols from berries, cocoa, and green tea enhance nitric oxide bioavailability. Magnesium supports vascular relaxation and complements vitamin D activation. When these nutrients are combined, blood vessels regain flexibility, allowing blood to flow more freely to the legs. This directly improves leg strength, endurance, and mobility. But nutrition alone isn't enough. Light physical activity also lowers inflammatory markers. A daily routine that includes walking, gentle calf raises, or seated leg extensions increases blood flow and reduces systemic inflammation. This is because moving your muscles stimulates anti-inflammatory cytokines and enhances nitric oxide release. A two-pronged approach with nutrition. Here's a practical daily anti-inflammatory protocol for vascular health after 70. Vitamin D, 2,000-4,000 IU daily with a meal containing healthy fats. Omega-3s, 1 per 2 g daily from fish oil or ground flaxseed. Polyphenol-rich foods, berries, dark chocolate, or green tea in your diet. Magnesium, 300-400 millimoles daily from supplements or nuts, seeds, and leafy greens. Movement, 10-20 minutes of light leg-focused activity after meals. If this is helpful so far, consider subscribing. I post daily insights on natural ways to improve circulation, energy, and longevity. Here's what's really going on when we combine vitamin D, nutrient support, and micro movement to maximize blood flow in the legs after 70. Think of it like a three-step symphony for your vascular system. Step 1, vitamin D, the conductor. Vitamin D sets the tone by activating endothelial cells to produce nitric oxide. Without it, the orchestra can't play. The vessels stay stiff, narrow, and unresponsive. Step 2, anti-inflammatory and nitric oxide boosting nutrients. The musicians' omega-3s, magnesium, and polyphenols support the production and preservation of nitric oxide while reducing oxidative stress. These nutrients ensure the notes from the conductor, vitamin D, are executed efficiently. Step 3, micro movement, the rhythm section. Even light walking, calf raises, or ankle rotations act like percussion, sending signals that expand capillaries, stimulate angiogenesis, and improve circulation at the microvascular level. This is not just exercise, it's a physiological amplifier of all the biochemical signals we've discussed. Here's a simple visual analogy. Imagine trying to fill a sponge with water. Vitamin D opens the sponge's pores, nutrients keep them absorbent, and micro movement squeezes and releases the sponge, ensuring water, oxygen, and glucose reaches every fiber of your muscles. Without all three steps, blood flow remains suboptimal. The research shows this synergy is crucial. Studies indicate that vitamin D alone improves endothelial function, but when paired with exercise and anti-inflammatory nutrients, blood flow, mitochondrial efficiency, and muscle endurance see exponential improvement. This is why 1,000,000x isn't just hype. It reflects the dramatic functional impact of restoring endothelial health in aging legs. Practical protocol for maximum synergy. Morning, take vitamin D with breakfast containing healthy fats. Midday, include a polyphenol-rich snack, berries, green tea. Afternoon, evening, light walking or resistance exercises for 10-15 minutes. Daily, ensure adequate magnesium and omega-3 intake. Consistency is key. Even 10-15 minutes a day of targeted movement can dramatically enhance the nutrient and vitamin D effects, especially if combined with meals that support nitric oxide production, like leafy greens or nitrate-rich vegetables. If you found this insightful so far, hit subscribe. I share daily strategies for improving circulation, strength, and overall longevity without medications. In the next section, we'll dive into practical daily routines, timing, and meal tips to make this protocol easy and effective for anyone over 70. Here's how to turn all this science into a simple, practical routine that anyone over 70 can follow to boost blood flow in their legs naturally without feeling overwhelmed. The key is timing and integration. The body responds not just to nutrients and movement, but to when you do them. Here's a day in the life example. Morning. Take your vitamin D with your largest breakfast that contains healthy fats. Think eggs with avocado or nuts. Vitamin D is fat soluble, so this ensures optimal absorption. Pair it with a nitrate-rich vegetable like spinach or arugula to further prime nitric oxide production. Midday. Include a polyphenol-rich snack such as berries or green tea. Polyphenols preserve nitric oxide and combat oxidative stress in the blood vessels. Afternoon, light activity, even just a 10-minute walk, signals your calf muscles to pump blood back toward the heart. This movement also enhances glucose uptake and stimulates capillary responsiveness, helping to counteract age-related microvascular decline. Evening. Another short walk or some seated leg exercises, ankle rotations, calf raises, or gentle squats helps maintain circulation and prevents pooling of blood in the lower extremities overnight. Daily, ensure magnesium intake through leafy greens, nuts, or a supplement. Magnesium works hand in hand with vitamin D to activate endothelial repair mechanisms and relax smooth muscle in the arteries. Include omega-3s through fatty fish or flaxseed to further reduce vascular inflammation. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your legs as a garden. Vitamin D opens the irrigation gates, nutrients enrich the soil, and movement is the water pump that delivers life-giving oxygen and energy to every cell. Miss any one of these steps, and growth slows. Do all three consistently, and circulation and muscle function flourish. Small tweaks matter. You don't need hours of exercise. 10 minutes of targeted movement after meals, combined with the right nutrients and vitamin D, can restore leg vitality over weeks. You may notice less fatigue while walking, reduced heaviness or swelling, faster recovery after standing or climbing stairs, better balance and stability. If this is helpful so far, hit subscribe. I post daily science-backed strategies to restore circulation, energy, and longevity naturally. In the next section, we'll summarize everything and provide a step-by-step leg blood flow protocol that you can implement immediately to see measurable results. Here's the final deep dive before we wrap up, connecting all the dots into a practical, actionable leg blood flow protocol for anyone over 70. We've discussed endothelial health, nitric oxide, vitamin D, glycation, inflammation, and micromovement. Now let's see how it all comes together in a daily routine that optimizes blood flow, strengthens your legs, and enhances energy. Step 1. Optimize vitamin D. Take 2,000-4,000 IU with your largest meal containing healthy fats. Pair with magnesium, 300-400 mg, to activate vitamin D in the body. Goal: support endothelial cells to produce nitric oxide efficiently. Step 2. Anti-inflammatory and nitric oxide supporting nutrients. Omega-3 fatty acids, 1,2-G daily polyphenols, berries, green tea, dark chocolate, nitrate-rich vegetables, spinach, arugula, beetroot. These nutrients reduce oxidative stress, preserve nitric oxide, and reduce inflammation in arteries. Step 3. Strategic micro-movement. Morning, 10-minute post-breakfast walk or light leg stretches. Afternoon, 10-15 minutes of calf raises, ankle rotations, or seated leg extensions. Evening, gentle walk or movement to maintain circulation before sleep. Even low-intensity movement sends strong signals to your vascular system, improving blood flow, glucose uptake, and capillary health. Step 4. Metabolic support. Control post-meal glucose spikes by pairing carbs with protein and fiber. Stay hydrated to maintain plasma volume. Limit late-night high-sugar snacks that stress insulin and glycation. Step 5. Sleep and recovery. Deep sleep releases growth hormone and melatonin, which support endothelial repair. A dark, cool environment improves vascular tone and metabolic repair overnight. If you follow these 5 steps consistently, here's what you can expect over weeks. Improved leg strength and endurance, reduced heaviness or swelling in lower extremities, faster recovery after standing, walking, or climbing stairs, better balance, and reduced risk of falls. Overall, improved energy and cardiovascular health. Remember, the key is consistency. Even small daily improvements compound over time to produce dramatic results. Think of it as restoring your vascular highways, so oxygen and nutrients reach every cell in your legs. Try just one of these changes today, whether it's taking your vitamin D with magnesium, doing a 10-minute walk, or adding nitrate-rich vegetables, and track how your body responds. The combination of nutrients, movement, and metabolic support is what makes this approach so powerful. If this added value, like the video and subscribe to join others optimizing their health naturally. Now that we understand how NAD+ supports cellular energy and vascular repair, let's talk about the molecule that actually controls whether blood reaches your leg muscles in real time, nitric oxide. Nitric oxide is produced by your endothelial cells, the thin inner lining of your blood vessels. Its job is simple but critical. It tells your arteries to relax and widen. When nitric oxide is available, blood flows smoothly. Oxygen reaches your muscles. Waste products are cleared efficiently. Your legs feel warm, responsive, and strong. But with aging, nitric oxide production drops. Here's what's really causing that decline. Oxidative stress destroys nitric oxide. High blood sugar blocks its synthesis. Inflammation damages endothelial cells. Physical inactivity reduces its stimulation. Let me explain this with a simple visual. Picture your arteries as adjustable tunnels. Nitric oxide is the signal that opens the tunnel doors. Without that signal, the doors stay partially closed. Blood backs up, flow slows. Your muscles become oxygen deprived, especially during walking. That's why many older adults feel leg heaviness after short distances, calf tightness or cramping, cold feet, slower walking speed. Now here's the connection to vitamin B3 and NAD+. NAD+ activates sirtuin-1, which protects endothelial cells and supports nitric oxide synthase, the enzyme that produces nitric oxide. So instead of trying to force circulation, we're restoring the cellular environment that allows nitric oxide to be produced naturally. But we can amplify this effect with specific lifestyle strategies. First, movement. Even a 10-minute walk stimulates nitric oxide release. Your blood vessels respond immediately to increased shear stress, the friction of blood flow, by producing more nitric oxide. This is why consistent, low-intensity walking is one of the most powerful tools for improving leg circulation. Second, nitrate-rich foods. Leafy greens like spinach and arugula and vegetables like beetroot provide dietary nitrates that your body converts into nitric oxide, especially when your oral microbiome is healthy. Third, blood sugar stability. Elevated glucose leads to the formation of advanced glycation end products, which damage endothelial cells and reduce nitric oxide availability. That's why pairing vitamin B3 with protein-rich meals, fiber, reduced refined carbohydrates creates a metabolic environment where nitric oxide can function. Fourth, magnesium. Magnesium helps relax vascular smooth muscle and enhances nitric oxide signaling. Many older adults are deficient, which contributes to vascular stiffness. So when we combine vitamin B3, supports NAD+ walking, stimulates nitric oxide leafy greens, provide nitrates, magnesium relaxes vessels, stable blood sugar protects endothelium. We create a synergistic effect that improves real, measurable blood flow to the legs. This is root cause medicine. We're not masking symptoms, we're restoring physiology. Now let's talk about a hidden driver of leg weakness that most people never connect to circulation: insulin resistance. You can have decent blood flow, but if your muscle cells cannot use glucose efficiently, your legs will still feel weak, heavy, and fatigued. Here's what's really going on inside your body. Your leg muscles are some of the largest glucose consumers in your body. When you walk, stand, or climb stairs, those muscles pull glucose out of your bloodstream and convert it into ATP for movement. but this only works if insulin signaling is functioning. With insulin resistance, glucose stays in the bloodstream. Muscle cells are underfueled. Energy production drops. Fatigue sets in quickly. Let me explain this with a simple analogy. Think of your bloodstream as a highway carrying fuel trucks, glucose molecules. Your muscle cells are factories that need that fuel. Insulin is the key that opens the factory gates. In insulin resistance, the gates don't open properly. The fuel trucks keep driving in circles and the factories shut down. That's why people with insulin resistance often experience early leg fatigue, slow walking speed, poor endurance, increased risk of falls. Now here's where vitamin B3 and NAD+ come back into the picture. NAD+ improves mitochondrial function, which enhances how muscle cells use glucose and fatty acids for energy. That means your muscles become more metabolically flexible. They can generate energy more efficiently. But we must also reduce the metabolic stress that causes insulin resistance in the first place. Here are the key strategies. First, protein at every meal. Protein stimulates muscle protein synthesis and improves insulin sensitivity. Aim for 25 to 35 grams per meal, depending on body size and medical guidance. Second, post-meal walking. Even 10 minutes of walking after eating significantly improves glucose uptake into muscle cells, independent of insulin. This is one of the most powerful and underused tools for leg strength. Third, resistance training. Muscle contraction itself moves glucose into cells through a pathway that does not require insulin. That means light strength training, even seated leg raises or sit-to-stand exercises, directly improves energy delivery to your legs. Fourth, reduce refined carbohydrates. Frequent spikes in blood sugar damage endothelial cells and worsen both circulation and muscle metabolism. Fifth, sleep quality. Poor sleep increases cortisol, which raises blood sugar and accelerates insulin resistance. So now we have a layered approach. Vitamin B3 supports NAD+ and mitochondrial energy. Protein rebuilds muscle and improves insulin sensitivity. Walking increases glucose uptake and nitric oxide strength training, restores muscle pump function. Blood sugar control protects vessels and mitochondria. If this is helping you see how these systems connect, consider subscribing, because this channel is about giving you practical science-based tools you can use immediately. Magnesium relaxes vessels. Stable blood sugar protects endothelium. We create a synergistic effect that improves real, measurable blood flow to the legs. This is root cause medicine. We're not masking symptoms. We're restoring physiology.